Hello everyone, what's up? Leviathan News here on a Thursday. It is June 13th, and I'm very excited to, after a week without one, actually, when I was in Belgrade, another Thursday weekly panel. And starting it already here with my two fellow ghouls, the Honorable Amplice and the amazing Colin Platt. How are you guys?
What's up? How are you?
How's it
I'm
going?
good. Recovering from a cold, but otherwise okay.
Happy to have you back on. First of all, implies been a while and for sure missed you. And but the guys were honestly very helpful in maintaining the flow. Millie was here pretty much all the time. Colin was very active as well. Dio and some others, and enjoyed these weekly panels as well. But of course, a good start for like being with the two ghouls is a good start for every weekly panel. And I actually think that you know what we even have like more to discuss, I guess, than on a normal week now, don't we?
Yeah, like is the Earth round?
Yeah, but that's a whole like that's even more complex than that. Let's
But
let's try talking about stuff that at least two of us understand something about, which are you guys, and. And talk about some liquidations at first. Like, what do you say? Like, there is no doubt what on our side of crypto, it's pretty sure that the story of the day is it's like finally it happened. Mitch's position got liquidated.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Jen?
It's been a while. But now that this overhang is gone, this headwind that we've been facing on DeFi, now finally our DeFi coins can go up. Right.
Yeah, it's actually
Everybody's just
quite
waiting
bullish
for this to happen.
on that front.
Yeah, everybody's just waiting for this to happen. Now that this is over, we're off to the races, right?
you
Everything's
don't
gonna
think
go
we
up,
can
right?
liquidate Hayden before we can go off only?
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna happen eventually. Like, I feel like having such large on-chain loan positions is like you're kind of a target, right? Anytime it gets close, people are going to try and liquidate you. So yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fine
it
though.
sucks.
He's got his mansion, so
He's got his mansion that he can cry in. I mean, he did eventually come out and say something later in the day about trying to clean up all the positions and whatever. Yeah, kind of sucks, but it's over, as you guys said, and we can move forward up only.
Well, we'll only move forward until we enjoy like discussing and discussing it because at least today, and like even for people that I personally mostly disagree, like it's a day of celebration, I think, for many who really like wanted to see it happen. Yeah, but actually, I do think that yeah, like people have been waiting for it and kind of wanting it for a very long while. But to me personally, this stuff like is stuff actually going to change? Is all of a sudden curve going to become irrelevant? Personally, I don't think that, but that's for everyone like to decide on their own for sure. I do want to welcome for the first time someone that I've ever since last week. I was like, man, I want to get you on the panel or whatever, like whenever you have some time. So it's a big honor for me actually to welcome for the first time on Leviathan, I think in general, and on the weekly panel, our newest panelist, Pope. What's up, man?
Man, you did a huge welcome. Thank you
Welcome.
for inviting me in, guys.
what's up?
I'm
Man,
happy you came because you said if number didn't go up, you wouldn't join us.
Well, the number went up, but to the other direction.
It all depends on what perspective you have.
Yeah, some of my friends, like flip the chart upside down and then draw a W. So it was very innovative for me.
I've been following Pope for a while, and I think that about the last 2 months or so, I really started noticing his profile more and more. And for me personally, one of my favorite accounts recently. pure alpha on many different topics and a lot of funny takes as well, and always very, very quick to share a lot of relevant stuff. So I definitely recommend that. First of all, you go and follow him. I think the tag there is Web3 Tokenomics, something like that. Pope. So go on X and find him. But I'm sure that many of you already are connected with him on either Telegram or Discord or X or whatever. And yeah, like for me, to actually find. Sorry, the dog is coughing here. It's actually it's really fun to being able to attract interesting people to come and do some content with us on Leviathan. I can say that personally for me, it's one of my biggest missions on Leviathan, especially if we want to be a community-driven media outlet. We have to get the community on board and to make people feel that they have room to express themselves, and especially when opinions are not necessarily the same, because I don't want us to become just like the normal echo chamber that so many outlets become. And guys, okay, before we move on with our live and start discussing the real relevant stuff like Tate versus Ansem, which ruled the timeline, at least on my side this week. What are some of your thoughts about this whole curve liquidation thing? I don't know. Huge deal, not a huge deal, gonna have a long-term meaning and effect on DeFi and on the curve's position in it, or just another day in the office, and people will, by the end of the stream, they will not remember what we were talking about. And, please, and by the way, feel free to take your time because I want to tweet about the show as well.
CRV is back up to 29 cents, so I don't think the world has ended quite yet. But yeah, I guess if I can say, one snotty thing, it's, buying mansions is buying real world assets. And as we all learn, buying real world assets in crypto is always a mistake.
I mean, amen to that. That's definitely true. I think it's this is effectively the same thing as if he had just dumped on people. So, founders do that all the time, right? They VC back tokens, low float, high FTV, and then dumping on people. So this is exactly the same thing, just that it took a bit longer. I think they're his tokens. He can do what he wants with them, ultimately. And insofar as there's bad debts in various protocols, that's that's their risk management, right? I mean, this is literally the same. It wasn't an attack, but the same vector of risk as SPF with FTT or whatever, something like that, on Cream, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just DeFi, isn't it?
For the CRV holders, I mean, there is a positive impact from all of this. First of all, they went from an on-chain event to taking over all the timeline, even if it's a bad PR in a way. And I think it's a great PR campaign because they managed to take the topic eventually from the timeline with all of the shitcoin happening. I mean, even if the event is kind of negative, but this is also, the protocol performance itself in the end. All of these fees that he's going to pay, they're going to go for the lockers. CRV bounces back. A lot of people are going to be happy with it. I mean, there is a lot of LPs that are sometimes down on a position for 2 years, and then the third year it turns positive. It's very tough to be a locker in these protocols. Most of them, over the years, just the performance just down only. But obviously, depending when you bought and how long you have been locked and how much you made from fees, you might be as well happy as that. But if you look at it, I mean, it's a 140 million PR campaign that was originated from some transaction on chain. Quite cool to see.
What's the longest lock that you guys ever had on CRV?
I haven't locked CRV actually. I locked some other loser coin.
Never?
No. I locked few bags during the bear markets to make sure that if I'm, if they go up, I don't fumble them after 1 or 2x. But I think like the longest that I made, I think Bindle 2.5 years.
Sure.
That's in total. But I have also like a huge lock on FXS that is basically way underwater, obviously. But this is also something that I was like, okay, I know this might go now 99%, but I will hold it and see, what happens with this for like 3-4 years. So just lock and close my eyes.
Were you around when CRV initially dropped? Like
I was, but I wasn't
airdrop and
digening in
farming?
DeFi yet.
Okay,
I wasn't
sure.
really digening yet.
I see.
But I was around it, and I saw I was around the listings as well that happened early.
So unfortunately for me, I actually have a lock from 4 years ago. I did a 4-year lock on CRV, and it's the unlock is August 22nd, 2024. So
I thought you were going to tell us it was like 3 days ago, and you're the one that cascaded this thing down.
no, it was small. It was like I didn't get a large allocation back then, right? And I farmed a bit, but I just locked it all. Yeah. So 4 years. Finally, I'm gonna be unlocked, but not in time.
sometimes
Not in
the
time
point
to get
from
not
tripping
dumped
it.
on by Egorov.
Yeah, but I think like this ends up turning up something positive. I mean, if this happens to a bank, the scenario might be a little bit different, but with things on chain might balance out eventually. It's not a bad PR. As
Having the irregular
it's not a
state
bad
change.
PR. I mean, there's a lot of coins that also depeg and then repeg, and then oh yeah, we have a protocol, we have a way to repeg and stuff like this. We've seen what Luna did. I mean, this is not as bad, I would say.
It's definitely not as bad, but I mean, yeah, the fact that the stable coin, I mean, CRV USD did all right, but like the interest rates on it borrowing were just absolutely destroying people. It was like 122%. Like it's pretty obscene.
Yeah, but these liquidations usually, the bounce is also aggressive. Like, all the DeFi coins that launched, I think the first DeFi cycle haven't performed where people expecting them to. Like there hasn't been quite aggressive DeFi cycle aside from Pendle. I don't recall other ones that basically were from that cycle that lived through and actually pumped hard. So I mean I expect this to happen.
We need an
These
Iggy
spillover
Azalea.
effects. I mean, the spillover effects might actually like to see these coins pump again hard as they used to. Like, we need ETH to go to 10K, 12K. Otherwise, I don't know where the spillover is going to come back into DeFi.
I mean, even if ETH pumps to 10K, do you think that DeFi coins will outperform it, or do you think? I mean, to me,
they will not.
They will
mean,
not.
It's very hard to say.
Still, so you might as well just hold ETH, right?
It's very hard to say if they will outperform it. But then people will start, looking, oh, I have too much ETH, and now one ETH is 10K, so they will start swapping into altcoins, and then there might be some spillover into DeFi, and then that's going to depend how much usage is going to get. I mean, there is a lot of great use cases for people who are managing big amounts of money to generate some APY to actually cover the living. Like, if you're managing a portfolio that is over a certain size, you can live on chain. Obviously, there is the risk of contracts, but at this stage, there's a lot of protocols that you can put your money in and feel fine with it in a way. Yep. Compared to the first cycle where, you would always be scared.
Definitely true.
That's kind of what made it exciting now.
Yeah, also true.
DeFi summer, like when you would not want to look away from your farm because you were sure you're going to get rugged, was kind of dangerous and exciting.
Exactly. I mean, it was, but right now, if you're managing big amounts, you want to go with the ones that basically will be around, like not gonna shake out or like just upgrade contracts while you don't know, or like they did few audits and they feel like amazing with it. Like I think Paraswap did a huge fuck up there. They had some approval issue that drained people on their new version, and then they had to stop it and then redo it and then do another audit. I don't know how that happened, but these are the things that you expect not to see from protocols that have been around for over 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you remember it wasn't Curve itself, but they used Viper, and there was a bug in how Viper compiled down. I think.
Yeah, a while ago, a few months ago, no?
it feels like years ago, but yeah, it was probably only like a month ago.
Yep.
But like, yeah, there's scary stuff, and I mean, yeah, granted that wasn't their fault, but and like it got resolved, but yeah, that still gets your heart racing if you're in it.
I've never felt so alive as DeFi summer.
It was a great feeling.
This market in comparison is pretty boring.
Yeah, because I don't think we've even started, you know, to be honest.
No, it's all happening in Solana meme coins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
on
Unless
Solana.
you're into like deep into like Iggy Azalea tokens and all that stuff, and Ansem and Andrew Tate, which hopefully we will get to a bit later. Like, come on, like nothing is really even happening yet. You know what I mean? Everyone's waiting for like macro stuff to decide where to put their money, I guess, right?
Yeah, but you have to also add in, the mentality of the users in the first DeFi cycle is right now different. Like we already know what these tokens means and how they function, and how they even trade. So it's not like this is something new we're gonna ape and gamble. Like right now, this is what you have happening on Solana compared to DeFi. We already know what governance tokens do. Like most of them have very hard time to create enough revenue to basically sustain the value of the token, or those that do don't share the money back with users. And even if they share, they will share a peanut because they are still holding 70-80% of the supply in the hands of the team or the VCs. So they're redistributing profits to themselves more to the users. Like you have teams that basically, yeah, well, you're getting paid a salary plus the tokens plus the revenue from the platform. Amazing.
Yeah. There's a whole aspect of crypto, like there's a large percent, I don't know large, but there is a percentage of projects that have like taken the soft rug art to the next level. You know what I mean? Like they know how to not be perceived as an actual rug, but like for me personally as a user, after a while, even some protocols that at first I was like very interested about, I'm starting to ask myself like, okay, is there really an actual point and something like actually being built there, or is it just like the ultimate mechanism to keep getting?
You can't make a statement like this without naming names.
Yeah, you
Come
got to
on.
name and shame. Man.
Name
What
names.
protocols are you talking about here?
No, I can't do that. But like, for example, when I was just in Belgrade and talked to some people that I was fortunate to meet for the first time, we started talking about some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, this and that project, it's like, I used to think it was the real deal, but today I just think it's okay. It's a few guys that have understood how to constantly be getting like $20,000 paychecks. And still be perceived as if it's all good without actually delivering anything for like a year and a half, other than like rotating the business, the so-called business plan to, oh yeah, now we're going to be building this, and oh actually market conditions have changed, we're actually going to be building this. And sometimes you're like,
I can't believe you're talking about Colin and liquidity like that in front of his face.
What?
Extremely rude.
He's talking about amplice schools and how you refuse to release the roadmap.
Yeah, these guys, man. They're globalists. You know how it is.
No, I think the problem is like ultimately every time you look at stuff, like people try to be too smart and refine the Ponzi too much. Whereas like what really worked in DeFi summer and what really worked in early on in the meme cycle and early in the NFT cycle was just like nobody tried to refine anything. It was just all like money sloshing around and brutal, and nobody knew what they were doing. And that really worked really well because people could actually win in those conditions if they put a bit of work into it. And now, like, I don't know, just trying to wrap your head around some of the mechanics in these protocols is just like you need a PhD. And it's not fun. Like it's fun when nobody knows what they're doing. It's not fun when somebody has put a quant on it, studied the game, figured out what the exact price is, because you'll never win that game. And people don't want to play that game. And that's unfortunately, I think, where a lot of DeFi has gone, is just try to build elaborate Ponzi's where they could just kind of, yeah, as you said, like make some money, share some money, and then everybody kind of wins in that game. Yeah, there's a lot of losers as you come along and a lot of collateral damage. But if people feel like they can win, they come in and play the game.
Happens quite often. Before we move on from this topic, I kind of want to ask you, like maybe for your personal opinions on this. Like, should Mich have acted like differently? Should he have just like, I don't know, instead of taking that position back then, should he have just dumped? Is he expected like to really do nothing with his tokens forever, just lock them? I think if he would have like, for example, locked them as CRV, he would have been crucified, and maybe rightfully so, for like owning the entire stack himself. Like, what are some of your guides? As
very simple, very simple. He should have taken out a massive loan and bought ETH.
Yeah,
That's
I
the only
co-sign
thing
that.
Yeah, and then he could have taken a loan on that ETH and bought more ETH. Like Michael Saylor, this.
Interesting.
Could have saved their bags. No, I mean, look, like, I think, like, founders should be allowed to sell their tokens. They shouldn't be like running for the exits the moment that they vest or whatever. I think there's like but like ultimately, you know, what are tokens? They're the equivalent in TradFi for like equity, right? So like you expect somebody who starts a quote like a company to eventually sell out or like make some money from what they've built. I think that's fair enough. I think for Mich Will, like he should. I mean, I don't know how people found out about him buying the mansion, but that should, like, I would have, if I were him, I would have tried to keep that on the DL, you know, don't let people know what you're doing. I think it's just like to take out that money and then buy something so kind of extravagant and then get liquidated and have the CRV price dump is like I don't mind, because I mean I wasn't gonna buy that coin anyways, but you know, if you're a CRV holder, you'd be feeling a bit salty, and that I understand too. But like ultimately, you know, it's a free world. If you believe in free markets, they're his tokens. He's free to do with them what he likes, and you know, if you don't like it, then don't buy the token.
I mean, the great thing that happened is like Curve is actually quite a useful platform, and you don't even need the old CRV tokens to use it. So yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, people holding CRV, I completely with amplice, like I see why they could be upset. Sometimes, like, yeah, when there's vesting on there and you buy a token, you should be aware of it, but like don't cry when it vests and they decide what to do with it.
Yeah, basically.
Well, you know, first of all, I don't think that when you decide to buy a mansion, like you can hide it that easily, or should, because I think that if you buy a mansion and then you try to hide the fact that you buy a mansion, that's much more suspicious than just saying, "Well, guys, I just bought a mansion."
I don't think that's true.
I thought
mean,
we
like,
worked at anonymous internet money here.
Yeah, like
what
like
if
okay,
you
can you
sell it for profit and then buy back CRV? I mean, there is already a lot of scenarios that could happen, and we have seen more. You know, that could be a nice PR flip, actually.
For example, DAdvsioor, can you name me what like property or assets Stani has or owns? You can't, right? Because it didn't. You know,
sure, I have no idea. No idea.
I'm sure he owns some like pretty nice things.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that back in the day there was this discussion between Kane and Zusu about like apartments in like or
Penthouse.
houses in the Australia.
No, that wasn't Kane. That was Leshner. That was Robert Leshner from Compound.
No, there was also something with Kane about like houses in Australia and Zusu.
Yeah, he bought a bunch of houses in Australia.
And like, guys, why shouldn't these people buy houses? And by the way, I'm just guessing here, and I'm single, so maybe I don't know much about this kind of stuff. But I don't know if they made a lot of money and their wife all of a sudden tells them, "You go buy something real for me." Like, I actually think that this is how things actually go. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he was told to buy a house, and he has to buy a house in order to keep everything calm over there. And I don't know, like, what's new under the sun? Like, you know, my friends buying like normal places in Israel, like normal houses, is much like for them it's a lot more money than Mich buying these mansions, I think. And also like, do they really want to buy them? I don't know, but they feel that they have to buy them. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying, it's the fault of the women. Did I
I'm
get
not
that
saying
right?
the word fault. I'm not saying the word fault. I'm saying that do we get to decide everything? Like, are we 100% sure? Like, don't we do stuff to order, like, to maintain, like, the family chilled or whatever? That's
Well, I
my
would say find a woman who will help you earn a penthouse instead of one who will
actually,
force you to buy one.
about that. That's a bit. That's a bit
Like
off
you,
topic. But
maybe once you have a family, you don't have as easy a choice to not buy some expensive thing, depending on the woman you married, though, right? But you ultimately have the choice to choose who you're with. So in that sense, yeah, I mean, it's ultimately
So what you're
still,
saying is you should marry rich,
yeah, or marry pre-rich.
pre-rich. so,
Yeah, but don't,
so she can dump her tokens and
shitcoin
she gets
trader.
crucified.
Find a shitcoin trader.
Exactly.
but like, by the way, like, I actually think that you know what? If you make enough money yourself, should your spouse be working, regardless of who's the man and who's the woman? By the way, like, if someone makes so much more than every like other household, in general, is it necessary for like? I don't mean it like that. Like, is it suiting for everyone? Like, should every family, no matter what, have two like have both people earning for a salary, even if one makes like 100x the other or 1000x the other? I don't know, man.
I mean, eventually you get bored, right?
Do people think that though? I feel like there are loads of couples that where only one person works, especially when they have kids. It's like pretty normal. I don't understand the
You know,
question.
wasn't it a lot more normal like 50 years ago?
Well,
Yeah, in the sense that like
depending
women
where you're
couldn't get
living.
jobs 50 years ago, but now everybody has a choice. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people who make the choice to stay at home. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
but you know, it's also like a fashion thing and like a culture thing, because it's like how you perceive if you're not doing it. Like, for example, when I think about my grandparents, God bless them their souls, like my grandmother like never like went outside to work on anything ever since she was married. I'm pretty sure, but like she had the she had at least as much to do as my grandfather. You know what I mean? Like, she literally did everything around the house.
Was she yield farming? Was she in charge of doing the yield farming?
In a way, yeah, in a way. In a way, you can say, like, I don't know, you can argue what was the exact yield farming over there, but let me tell you, I enjoyed her food more than I enjoyed my grandpa's food, that's for sure. And he could probably have said the same thing, like, obviously. Otherwise, he'd never eat. Like, if it wasn't for her, I doubt he would ever eat.
I mean, yeah, I guess I don't understand the question. Basically, like we live in a world where you can make your own choice right now, whereas 50 years ago, lots of women who wanted to do other things couldn't because they didn't have the choice to. So, like, is it better to live in a world where women have that choice or don't have that choice? I mean, I think it's
You
better
guys
to
really
live in a
took this
world where
idea of
women
just doing
have that
like
choice.
random
And
hot
insofar
things.
as there's a cultural expectation that women work, firstly, I don't even know if that's true. I think it, number one, depends on where you live and what kind of people you hang out with. But number two, like, just if the thing that's stopping you from staying at home is like cultural pressure, then just stop being a wimp ass and just go do what you want. Like, I don't understand. Yeah.
That is a great transition into the zkSync airdrop.
Woo!
Boom!
I didn't get any.
Oh,
So
neither
bitter.
me.
It's because you were too busy not farming it.
Yep.
I didn't.
I actually did some transactions on the Gitcoin zkSync like a few years ago.
Me too,
Thing.
but I didn't
Yeah.
do any transactions
That's
on
the
it
only
other than your
honest
thing.
transaction that I would do, and I found nothing to do on zk. Like, for me personally, like, there's nothing there that attracted me, so I didn't do anything there. I mean, does that mean that you shouldn't airdrop users that are actually using a lot of it from the past? Like, there is some of us did transactions early on to test it. Actually, like these transactions got zero value in their eyes, and back then there were barely users.
I had the
Right now
exact same
you have,
thing.
and now you have the farmers that they're basically farming. Okay, cool, no problem. Just
But there was a bunch of people that were farming it that got upset that they got nothing.
yeah, but I mean also like I from that still I got the Gitcoin airdrop for their shitcoin. That was also kind of like good, so it kind of like covered the whole thing. But the zk part is kind of like, I don't know. There's nothing interesting for me there to do. I mean, they keep shelling the tech, but what's been like, whether we understand it or not, currently I don't see anything happening there. Like there's so many chains, and it's a different competition. It's not who have the better tech. It's more who have the better marketing or who have the better Ponzi for farming.
I just came across, like, speaking of just being so many chains, Conduit. Have you heard of Conduit?
Yes.
XYZ?
Yeah.
XYZ.
I think I saw it.
They're basically roll up as a service, right?
Yeah, you can spin up your own chain, and like Zora and a few of the other ones use them. I think DGen uses them, like as an L2 or an L3, and it's like $3,000 a month, and you can have a chain, like unlimited chains. I love it.
Yeah.
But we can create so many airdrops here. We need to like also roll that
zkSync.
out.
I don't know.
There is probably another 100 upcoming. Just count how many building on top of EigenLayer. And then how many other EigenLayer competitors are going to also have another 10, 20 chains launching on top of them, then we might end up with another 100 new chains by, end of the year.
But this like solves all of the world's problems. Like we have created UBI, right? Like this is great.
Yeah, pretty much.
You wish.
You play around on your computer and then just bam, somebody drops you a few $1,000s. Like, okay.
You see, it always
the question
gets
how long this is gonna last, man.
Until it doesn't work anymore. But until then, we party.
We are already halfway through that it doesn't work because some of them are airdropping and then everybody forgot about them until the next one,
But that means that there's still half left to go.
Maybe. I mean, like, I think the best thing would be right now is to watch how the Blast airdrop is gonna perform, and then how the ecosystem is gonna evolve over the next 3 to 6 months or like 12 months. And then you will have an understanding of how things will actually look like. Like, you can predict how is that gonna play out, but also maybe not. Like, a lot of people went very bearish on it in the beginning. Right now, there's a lot of interesting stuff that are popping up there, but the question of the incentive, how they manage the incentive that they were gonna give to keep the on-chain activity there.
So a question I have for you, I guess in my eyes, those are the two opposite poles. Like you have the super unclear, you wake up and somebody's like giving you tokens based off of you speculating and using something. So like zk, a bunch of other ones did it. But then on the other side, you have, like, as you said, Blast and points. I don't think I've ever seen anybody happy with a points-based system as it's panned out, right? Is there any like counterexamples?
I'm pretty happy with what I'm going to get from Eigenlayer.
Yeah.
With Eigenlayer?
Yeah. They had points.
Okay, you're a rarity. I've never heard anybody happy with that.
How do you know, though? How do you know it's that you're happy with?
Because you know how much tokens you're going to get now. But they were doing points before, and I was farming it from early. Like when they
you entered
still
like 1 hour. If you entered 1 hour when they opened it, then you probably farmed a lot more than somebody who came in 3 or 6 months after, obviously.
Yeah, I think I beat
you
out
have
even
to be
some of the
early in the
Pendle and
liquidity.
Leverage people because I was farming it like when they were still had really low limits, Yeah.
That's good.
I've been farming it since like November last year or something. So
it is exactly as when you would enter the the shitcoin DeFi farming when there is a 400% APY, and if you were the first one to basically be in that farm for the first 6 hours, then you still averaged, I don't know, maybe 50,000% in the first 5-6 hours, where you farm big quantity with big size. It's the same, but this time they're just hiding the APY behind points and whoever gets into the contract first. And with size, obviously, like Karak was at 44 million. Right now, I think they're near 1 billion, right? So when they started, maybe they were at like 2 million, 3 million. If you were farming, you had big percentage out of those 2-3 million. You found quite a big quantity of points already on the beginning. Then if you had longer, you continued farming, obviously, but less rate of points. So it's the same, just hidden behind points.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
this
I'm
does
excited
the
to.
difference, like, so you
I don't
can-
mind. I don't mind the points thing. Like, obviously, it's nicer to just get a drop, right? I think one of the
So simple, huh? To just get the money. Like, what are you talking to me about?
yeah, like last cycle was
Points.
more fun
Give
because
me
you
the
wake up and be
tokens.
like, oh,
Let me see
Lido
if it's
dropped me
worth
like
a lot or not.
30K
Like,
or
who
something
cares?
for sure.
Where's the
Farming with
I mean,
classic
liquidity.
airdrops of
it's
2022?
I mean,
No,
it's
no,
a
the
way
best
to keep
ones are the
users around for longer. I mean, it's not bad or good. It's, eventually, if it's baked into the product in the right way, then users might stick around because they like the product. In some other cases, they're not going to like the product. They're going to farm the points and leave. Those that basically survived, they did great incentive and captured real users. Those who didn't will basically kind of like die or fade over time.
Yeah. I think the tough thing about something like zkSync, to bring it back to ZK, is like honestly, these chains, especially these EVM chains, are pretty indistinguishable from each other, right? Like, what's really, other than like, I don't know, Arbitrum has some special DeFi stuff and like Base has some unique stuff, but like the user interaction of using zkSync is similar to using Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, etc., etc., etc. So like the only way that you keep users there, unless there's some killer app that users actually want to use outside of being on your chain, without that, it's like you just have to keep giving incentives, otherwise they're just gonna leave. Especially if other people are giving incentives, right? So yeah, I don't know how these undifferentiated chains are gonna, like, you need killer apps basically to keep people on
But that's, I mean, I
on
think
any
that's a good
L2.
point. Like, paying for killer apps, I think, has been something that has been relatively successful. And I would single out like Arbitrum as being pretty good at it. Like,
Yep.
you can love or hate the token like trading action, but
Everybody hates it.
everybody hates it. But like, they have what, 40% of all like L2 TVL. Like, it's massive.
Yeah.
Why is it all there? Like, they built something that's usable, and they brought enough liquidity there, and they brought people that are building applications that aren't just copy paste. Like, there's a lot of things that you can only find there.
Yep.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yeah, nice to chat
Enjoy,
to you
man.
guys. Hopefully chat
Thanks
to you
for
again next week.
coming.
Goodbye.
Cheers, man.
Always a pleasure. Guys, let
Oh,
me ask
I
you.
see your picture. You got a Berachain shirt on. Tell us about Berachain. Why is Berachain going to win?
Oh man, don't ask. I mean, I was deep in the bear market, was bored as hell, looking for things, and then just came across it. Somebody was shilling it to me. I told them, fuck off, let me be alone. And it came across my feed again, and then again, and then again. It's bear market. If it comes across your feed more than one time, something is in there. I started digging, like the concept. Then digging in. I mean, that was, I don't know, it's been a year and something, year and a half now. But yeah, I mean, they're like,
It's taking a long
I
time.
think the differentiator in the whole thing that Berachain is trying to do is bake the incentives on the protocol level, which is quite hard to actually execute in a right manner. And I was actually discussing this few days ago with a friend. I was like, there's two ways to do it: the way that Berachain want to do it, and there is the way to do it with the existing DeFi tools. So like, Blast could create a vBlast and then say there is no team allocation, everything goes there. Like, this would be a nice thing to do, to take all the Blast tokens and just, there is no investors' money, there is just vBlast, for example. And then users who got the airdrop control the emission. This could be done in that way as well. Like, you could do it in the DeFi tools way, but there is also, the way they're looking at it, they're trying to do it on the protocol level. Where you as an LP, not just earning fees from being an LP on the DApp. So let's say you're LPing now USDC, ETH USDC. You're earning fees from that pool, from people trading on that pool, but also by being part of the validation. So you're the one who's also validating type of transactions. So you're earning on top of that another yield component.
Yeah. Which is interesting. But why is it taking so long? Why isn't it out yet? I have zero patience.
I mean, I think the fact, they've been trying to do this with different tools, and, each time they reach a stage where things don't look the way they want, they move to another tool. So like, it takes time to, I think, get it right, but also there is no pressure. I mean, it's been 2 years, 3 years, another 2, 3 years, my friend would be happy. He's like, make it be longer. I mean,
Wait for the next bear market. They can't launch that thing into a bull market, can they?
no, I don't know. I think like people are speculating in the next 3 months, maybe 6 months max. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know. Like I'm not part of the team. I'm just part of the community. Been around for a while there.
I like them. I had
Um,
them a couple of times. They're cool. They're very schizo. I like it. I think it'll do well, but we should
I
put
think
pressure.
there's gonna be a lot of momentum there. I think like I personally expect the TVL to start quite aggressive there. Like
Oh, I'm sure.
expect a lot of people to be bridging and using the systems there. So the longer it takes, the more dApps are being added or more tools being added for developers. I mean, it doesn't hurt to take another 3 to 6 months to get to critical mass of okay, we know we have now quite good teams, we have quite good products, and if we launch, there's going to be a place to put this TVL into work, obviously. But there's also the component of this is quite new. I'm scared to bridge 5 million, for example. There's going to be whales who are going to be thinking twice, and there's going to be people who are just digging in. But I think also part of the race, they also like kind of like secured some TVL. So like it's not just people who took seed money in, but also these investors also kind of like made commitments for TVL. So that's something that a lot of chains actually do. So expect, I don't know, 1-2 billion already at start, first 2 weeks. Then we watch.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, same. I actually like. I will say this: like, I know about more stuff being built on Berachain than about stuff built on zkSync. So,
Or any
like,
other chain, probably.
I'm not saying that like this is for sure the case. I'm not saying I know it all, but for me personally, my timeline is showing a lot more activity on the upcoming Berachain and stuff that am already like feeling that okay, I should be like talking to this guy and I should try that and like be ready for when it starts. And with zkSync, like personally, just like Pope said earlier, like yeah, back in like I don't know, 21 or whatever, I onboarded like 0.1 or 2 ETH on zkSync and started like sending it to myself and maybe used the I think zigzag exchange for a few trades. It was called, but it was like purely like airdrop hunting. And yeah, I didn't really like learn about. A lot of the stuff that's built there. So, by the way, like if anyone's listening to it and like wants to correct me and like show me a lot of the stuff that's hopefully being built on zkSync and that people and users actually do there, feel free, because I don't remember us having like many teams from zkSync, like building on zkSync. I'm much more familiar with like teams building on either, I don't know, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Polygon. And out of the newer ecosystems, yeah, I think that like compared to a network that is not out yet, like Berachain is very like vibrant. Like people are talking about it. I know of at least a few projects that are building there. It does like at first I thought it was like a joke, but as time went on, I was like, okay, there's something's happening there. Like this is a real thing.
This is the same vibe that was around even 1 year and a half when everything was dead in the bear market, and the only thing that was showing up on my feed was Berachain. I mean, you get pilled, and then you find a lot of interesting people, a lot of great, interesting characters. It was mostly meme in the beginning. I mean, even when I was around, it was mostly a meme. And watching the first testnet going live, obviously there was tons of bots as well around that, but you watch the second, the V2 now is live. I'm gonna give it, I think, another like few days before I start jumping and playing around. But it's kind of like I think that the whole thing, also how they launched the V1 with all the dApps in one page, where you could find all the dApps in one page. It was different, approach for the UX UI. Obviously, it's not crazy innovative, but it's simplistic. But this is what most of these chains need,
Deal.
to be simple to find everything in one place. And I think they did a great job on that.
Yeah.
Can you maybe is,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, I just wanted to share like maybe if you like can even like for me and for I'm sure some of the others who might be listening, like can you maybe explain a bit about the whole like the basic idea or like I know that they talk a lot about proof of liquidity, right? Like it's being like one of the biggest deals there. So maybe you can maybe like share a bit about that, just so we get like a sense, at least those of us who are not as educated as you guys.
Again, the simplest way is like, Bitcoin, you have the miners that are basically mining the Bitcoin. You have Ethereum, where is also the stakers. And then you have the option where with Berachain, if you are an LP on any of the pairs, you will be basically be farming the governance coin, which is basically you're the validator of the chain as an LP. So as an LP, you're actively also validating transactions in a way. You're part of the ecosystem revenue of that chain. I mean, today, to get access to the Solana type of revenue, you have to be huge. Like you need either 32 ETH or just be an LP on the chain. By using the chain, you're part of the ecosystem of that chain, right? If you're an LP, or if you might be staking or using different dApps, like most of the dApps are gonna redirect the revenue that comes from the chain back to the users. So like incentive directly back to the users. But obviously, like there's the allocation that goes to the team and the investors. This is still kind of like the best case scenario is somebody to take that, fork it, and fully owned by users. No investors, no team, just community launched. But it's expensive because then you need the marketing, you need to bootstrap the teams, you need to bootstrap the dApps, which people underestimate. Like it takes a lot of time, a lot of money to attract teams, and that's why they go and raise big amounts of money. Still, people on CT just go and start trolling chains that launched or like raised hundreds of millions, because if they don't, they cannot actually be in the timeline. They cannot actually be pushing to get users. Like it's insanely competitive between chains. So you have to look at the bootstrapping part and how investors behave with their tokens, or how they use these tokens, or how are these tokens going to be functioning. Is it worth it for you to just dump or keep them staked and earn fees from the network? You have always this question. I mean, if you entered in the seed and you're already up 100x, probably just take them and earn fees. And even if you exit with a 10x, it's already good.
I think what's important is that we all get these 10x's and big airdrops, and that all of our airdrops and bags are the best technology ever. That's really important to note.
I don't want to tie my life into that. I like having high hopes from airdrops for a long time might end up disastrous for you as well.
Yeah, you do whatever you want with them. But getting lots of airdrops, we should always be on the receiving end.
Yeah, I think there's going to be another, like, at least few dozen good airdrops ahead.
You just confirmed to me that I will be getting a Bera airdrop. I appreciate that, Pope. I'm sending Smokey a message right now and tell him you confirmed it. And as you're wearing the shirt, you're officially part of the team.
In all three of the blockchain's tokens, by the way, like you should be getting all of them. Like I don't care what the normal participants are gonna get. Like you, man, you should get like all the different tokens.
I should get lots of them. Pope should get lots of them. We should all get lots of them.
I tend to agree. I don't know about me, but for you guys, I'm pretty sure that you're doing something right over there to get it. By the way, what are the big like differences over there between V1 and V2, Pope? If you can maybe share a bit.
I haven't dug yet like fully, but I think they changed. They were using the Polaris, and they moved from that to Beacon Kit, which is a different stack that like different infrastructure. They also changed some stuff on the architecture level, which is interesting to look into, but like for the users, it shouldn't mean anything. Like for you as a user, it shouldn't mean much, obviously. Like what you expect is connect your wallet, make transactions, everything works. that's how it should look like for the users, obviously. Exactly. And I think it's quite cool. Like there is the two aspects of projects that go hardcore talking about the tech, and that's very confusing for the end consumer. Then you have the projects that have it. If you want it, it's there, but it's not our focus when it comes to marketing or how we're pushing things. And I think shouldn't be like the main topic usually. Like if it's always the main topic, it's not gonna attract the normie to come and read or come and consume the content.
Yeah. Normie doesn't like the terms V1 and V2 and whatever.
You know what normies do like, though, if I can move us along, is normies like to watch other normies fight.
Oh, yeah. Colin, you should get like a prize for the segments, like how you switch segments here today, brilliantly. And get it
What, did I
for-
get bored of the conversation and move us along?
yeah, man. Brilliantly done again. And actually, because I actually did like on my timeline, let me tell you, the stuff I saw mostly like this week was the whole Tate and Ansem stuff. Did you guys see some of that?
Yeah,
I
small,
saw some
small,
of it
thing,
when I
small
woke up.
thing. I
It's
stayed up
like
to date
they
by small
all,
thing.
all of a
Small thing
sudden
keeps tweeting
decided.
that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Inverse, bro. Small thing. Oh, most
Yeah.
of the most of the news delivered by him.
Him and Boldly Anitas does a great job as well as a recap.
I mean, it's in a funny way, but yeah, I mean that's. I don't know what to make of it at this stage.
It actually seems like, when I tried like giving it like my macro view of it, it's like, okay, crypto is warming up again, like slowly for specific normies, like for niche normies. But all of a sudden, outsiders are talking about an industry that if we were to go back like a few months ago, would anyone even like these people did not use the words crypto in DeFi or whatever? You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't the case.
I mean, I think what complete with you, like it's definitely been brought to a wider audience of interesting weird people. I'm just so surprised that like meme coins have managed to endure this long. And as I keep saying every time on the show,
Really? You're surprised? You're surprised by it?
I'm surprised by it. Like I don't know, it just
Man,
feels very
you're
extractive.
just too smart. Colin, let me tell you,
I'm too stupid. Maybe
you're
that's
just
the
too
problem.
smart of a guy to not realize that for so many of us, like at least meme coins, we understand. You know what I mean? Like all
Be
that other.
honest, though, do you find yourself winning on meme coins? Not did you win once? Do
No,
you find
for
yourself
sure
winning?
not. For sure now. But at least I understand the joke. You know what I mean? But at least I understand what's going on. Once they start talking about liquidity and leverage and lending and all that stuff, 99.99% of the population, including myself, of course, have no idea what you guys are even talking about. But it just seems so cool and smart. So we try. Some of us try to
Yeah, it's
keep
like
up and
learning a
see
new
the
language.
way. But all of a sudden, when you tell me like a token like mother, daddy, okay, at least I understand. Yeah, some people think it's funny, they buy it. Most of us are not very sophisticated guys, I have to tell you.
But tell us how. Okay, what's your trading strategy? How do you know when it's time to sell your meme coin? What's your strategy? Share it to the world.
Your strategy is
detailed.
gonna depend. Your strategy is gonna depend on how much is your net worth, right? If you're a new user with $500 and you turn the $500 into $500,000, and this is all your money, you're not rich and you're jobless, then probably you should take that profit and start learning what to do with it, because otherwise you're gonna round trip it and lose it. But most people don't do it.
But you
If
know why
you're
it's basically impossible, I think, Pope? Because if you buy like this kind of a token and you put like $1,000 into it, and all of a sudden this $1,000 becomes like $100,000 or whatever,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
for you, the person itself like feels that, okay, I'm a fucking genius. Like all these smart people, they tell me what to do, but I literally 100x something, and then you hear that inner voice telling you, man, if it only goes double, you're gonna be 200x, not 100x, and then that greed basically prevents you from being able to take any kind of a rational decision, because you know it was greed that got you to that much. Because if it wasn't for greed, you'd be selling at 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x.
Yeah, but this is where experience come into a play. If this
True.
is not your first time experience,
True.
if
But
it's not the
but
first
so
time,
many
if
with
it's
the
not
meme.
your first time, it's your 10th time or 20th. Eventually, you're gonna take the slap and learn. Like in some cases as well. Like yeah, the token is live for 1 week. It's trading at I don't know 100 million. it goes 3-6 months, it's down now to 20 million, and then 8 months later, it's at 1 billion, and you sold it already, right? Like there's the two things that happen when you're trading these coins: is the longevity of it, and how much does that impact your portfolio. If it's all your money, then probably you should risk some of it and keep the rest if you want. But it's very hard to say. Like some people take 75% and leave 25% moon bag. And then that 25% may be worth 100K right now for them. They haven't sold it. Round trip it back to 2K. Like,
but here's what I want to understand. So like maybe I'm overly simplistic, but like meme coins trade based off of attention, right? So like there's a pre-attention, there's a max attention, and then there's kind of a post-max attention, right? Who buys these meme coins post-max attention? Like, I'm not talking about on the downswing. I'm talking about like something that came out 4 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever in Solana, 3.5 weeks ago, that isn't in focus. Who's actually buying these tokens? Like, why is there
people who are again? So what happens? There's two things. Obviously, you have either the insider play where they start pumping it slowly and they already own big part of the supply, and then they create the narrative on Twitter. But then you have also some people who just gamble that a certain coin is gonna have a re-hype after 6 months. Some of them like really would be sitting at 50K market cap. It was a thing, and then 6 months later, somehow something happened, and then it's now again a thing, right? It just gets that repump. And some people just either keep holding, although they lost 99%, or just decide, okay, I'm already down 99%. This coin is now at 50K market cap. I'll throw another $200. I'll DCA myself into zero, and if they get the narrative again, they will repump again. And you could.
So I guess what you're telling all of our listeners,
you could take 100
down
souls,
bad,
100
but
of
there's still a
those.
chance.
Yeah, I mean, some of them they actually like do that price action again, but obviously it's all luck in a way. Either luck or insider play. One of the two.
There's got to be some people that are just like winning constantly or above average, and it's not just because they have a really big Twitter platform.
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, some, but
you see on the timeline, but how much of that do you believe? Obviously.
Again, sorry, I didn't hear you.
You see a lot on the timeline, but you don't know how much of that to believe.
None of it. Don't believe anything on Twitter. Like literally nothing on there is to be believed.
Don't even believe what we say now, by the way. Yeah.
I'm not saying to believe Twitter, but I mean a lot of people brag on Twitter, but you don't know actually what's the performance overall on their own wallets in most of the cases.
For sure. People don't like to really brag about their mistakes, They like to brag at the specific point that they are right.
You have to be a lot wrong than right in the beginning, and then hopefully eventually you're more right than wrong. Like it's the whole journey that you take over a period of time.
By the way, for me personally, I know that like I try to avoid as much as possible from like trading the meme coins, because I just already like realize that I'm never early on this stuff. Like I'm a boomer, and if I know about this token, this meme coin, when I know about it, it's for sure too late. You know what I mean? Like
you're not enough time on CT then, or not in groups.
To be honest, ever since I became like a bit busier, like because at first when I just started like the DAdvsioor like account, and I really didn't know anyone, and like no one expected anything, and like I didn't have to like or had the ability even to interact with anyone. Then I really had my like 12 hours a day to really sit on crypto Twitter all day and show some of the stuff I find relevant. But yeah, it's an ongoing game. And yeah, for me personally, I just know about. I just find out about this stuff when I find about it. Come on, like it's already pumped. Let's get real.
What I always find fascinating every time I stick my nose into meme coins is like you'll come across something that you'll hear about like in a random group, which is quite funny and seems kind of novel, and then like you'll go listen to their spaces or join their Discord, and there'll be people in there that are just like talking about the archaeology of this, and they're like, oh yeah, this is this genre of meme coin, and you're like, wait, what? This exists? Like, it's so weird and so niche. Like, it is insane. I don't know. I find it fascinating. As like,
let me tell you, Colin. I think
that
we are the niche. No, you know what I mean. We are the niche. Like us talking about liquidity and that stuff. What?
It's even more niche. It's like, you know how DeFi, like everybody was talking about Ohm forks, and it was like, oh yeah, this is like the nth Ohm fork, and like people knew what that meant. You could just say, yeah, this is an Ohm fork based around WBTC, and people went, yeah, okay. And then you go and you listen to these things. They're like, oh yeah, this is the 49th founder's car play on Solana, and you're like, wait, that's a thing? That's a meetup? Like, why are people trading?
Yeah, some of them are very short narratives and they die. Some of them have short medium. Some of them became a CT keyword, right? Like it's something that is being used regularly over longer period of time and probably gonna eventually pump. Like these are like kind of like plays that are very hard to identify, but also they can end up being zero. Like you might think this one is gonna last for longer and then it doesn't, obviously, and it doesn't pump. Like it's all a kind of a casino, but it's not something you do full time with all of your money. Like if you do that, then yeah, you're a casino addict probably.
I mean, there's got to be some people that have emerged as like analysts for these things and can spot these trends and be like, oh yeah, I'm getting on the third follow-on because that confirms the trend or something. I don't know. There's got to be people that are good at this. I have to believe that.
For sure.
It's just not us. It's just not us.
Yeah,
well, maybe it's both, but it's not us.
It's not me.
I mean, I did catch few good pumps on meme coins. Don't get me wrong, but
you're not like
exiting.
us.
No, but still exiting on the right time is the hardest part of it. Like like how maxi do you become in your like brain in order not to sell, or do you sell and move on? Like this is always the question of anyone who is trading meme coins. In the end, you gamble.
I've got a tangential question to this. Can a chain take away the throne from Solana's meme coin domination?
I'm not sure because it's so American oriented right now. Both the meme coin aspect of things and both Solana, that right now I think that place is pretty secure. But in the long run, who knows? But I just think that all this scene is like 80% in the US right now. And again, it's just a guess. Like I have no idea what's actually going on. But to me, it seems
it does feel pretty heavily.
Seems like it seems an American, like an American culture thing, basically.
Yeah, but it's also, if you think about it, it's been going for long right now. It's not a month or 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's stuck around quite long, longer than expected.
Because it's these American celebrities that have all of a sudden like become a bit like into it.
Yeah, but you also have the GME and all the GME stuff that came with it, Roaring Kitty and other few coins that were born from that, and most of them now actually, like for those who bought early, did well.
Isn't Tate British and isn't Iggy Australian?
Yeah, but Iggy lives in the US.
But most of our market is in the US, no?
I mean, I would imagine, but it is a much bigger market than Australia, so I just think based on pure numbers, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most people that like most of our success, I don't think it's done like in Australia or the UK. I'm pretty sure it's in the US, but again, just guessing again.
I mean, I am very, very happy that it is all happening not on Ethereum mainnet. Like I remember when memes on mainnet were a thing and gas was stupidly expensive.
Yeah, thank God. You know what? They should have invented Solana. They should have invented Solana just for that, actually. Like,
I think people can't appreciate how nice that is.
Maybe Vitalik is behind Solana, guys. You know
what? I think like was it Consensus had some kind of stake in them? I may be completely making that up. I don't know, but I feel like Consensus had some Solana link.
Really? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I'm gonna Google this because I may just be completely making it up.
The best that you can do as an investor is not taking sides, like gamble on all of them, and whoever wins, you win.
Exactly.
It's the easiest route to go. Like if you are Bitcoin maxi and then something else outperforms you, you're gonna feel like shit. If you're ETH maxi and you're not buying other shit as well, you're gonna feel like shit later on. Gamble on all of them.
Yeah. By the way, Pope, I want to use this opportunity to ask you, like, personally for you, are you doing more like trading or investing with locking? Like, what's your general perspective on how this whole like game is played for you personally? Not necessarily only in meme coins, by the way. I mean, like mostly in general. Just for example, for me, basically after I started with crypto, I pretty soon realized that okay, I do not know or understand how to trade. I better find some stuff that I can lock and hopefully they will earn something, because if it's going to be up to me and trading, I will just be riding imaginary money up and then riding it down.
I'm a pretty
Trading,
bad trader, so I learned how to write Solidity code instead.
I mean, it's always depends on the size. When you're scaling up your size, you have to either adapt your strategy or, like, depending if you started with high risk, low amount of money, then you make money. Then you have to move to the next phase where, how do you preserve that money and don't round trip it? Then preserving that money, you want to put it also to work. So that's gonna require you some DeFi knowledge. And then you have all these cycles. When you see some NFTs starting to move, maybe liquidity is jumping back into NFTs. Which NFTs you're gonna be positioned in? Also, the positioning in NFTs for airdrops. Like a lot of people, if they had good positioning from early on during the bear market in those NFTs, some of them went 5x, 10x, 20x, and plus gave you some airdrops. You can't keep up with all of these. So like you have to at least know when to preserve and move to the next level. Like you can't manage $500,000 the way you managed, $2,000. It's a little bit different. Even on taking decisions as well. So for me, it's like I don't know. I started my early days with $75 trading, in 2016. Buying XRP at 0.006, just thinking, okay, this one has banks and it's a shit coin. Probably people are gonna start buying it during the bull market. It was just kind of like a narrative trade where I'm like, yeah, people are gonna get attracted to this one. They're gonna think banks is behind it. And that was the actual pump that happened back then, like all of this news about banks and XRP and people starting to think that. And then, that was a great trade, but that's the start. And then what do you do out of that? Yeah, you keep learning. I mean, you have to keep learning, looking at the new tools, new trends. You also have to convince yourself to adapt sometimes, right? Like you're sticking in one place and you're like, okay, maybe you should look into Solana, right? Maybe there is something, and why not? Like, to move from the stage of sticking to one chain or to two chains to moving to other chains is kind of like also how fast do you do that? Because if you're early, you're making more money on the points. If you're not early and you come after 6 months, you're probably late for the party. And yeah, the one thing that I actually went with is actually, like, how do you go through 100x without selling during that 100x run up, right? Like, it's not human to do it, obviously, unless you have, I don't know, bots and you're just trading with bots and you forgot about some bag. The second option is to lock yourself in, like lock your bags and hope that the dApp that you think is gonna do well will do well. Some you might end up round tripping, some not. Like in my case, I was very lucky on the Pendle move. That was quite something to watch. Like went into Pendle when there was TVL like 3 million on Pendle. There was nobody using Pendle. Pendle V2 launched. Few pools there. There's barely like 6 million, 7 million TVL, and then going from V1, V2, and right now where Pendle is standing. I mean, it's a great tool, but people are still not using it as it intended. Most of the usage there is farming points, but then what happens after points are not there? Are people going to use the fixed yield, or are people going to use the other component of leverage yield? Yeah. It's a great question. How long is that going to last?
Yeah, exactly. For me personally, when I saw somebody like a month or two ago, when there were all these people, like including you, reading about their pendle positions, and I was like, okay, they did some smart moves, and in a way, it's so inspiring to know that okay, like look, like if you keep playing this game long enough, if you survive long enough as an investor, and you
Yeah.
just one of these positions that's gonna work good enough, like it's a surreal thing. Even today, I'm tiny investor, but like my tiny positions, once you actually comprehend the fact that oh my god, I'm actually getting paid because of this position. I don't know. For someone like me, it just it's astonishing, and it really is all about like finding some of the right one, placing some right bets, and it can be just so worthwhile if it works.
Yeah, I think like the whole idea of how they also pay back the yield from the voting power, like I think I haven't seen any other DApp yet giving directly ETH, not their governance token or a stable coin or a mix between two, just pure ETH, right?
Yeah.
This is the right move, honestly. Why? Because you're giving users back ETH, and they can decide if they want to move that ETH to a stable coin, or if they want to buy your governance token, unlock more, or they want to use that to LP. Like it's a different way to reward the users and let them decide what they want to do with it. I mean, initially they were doing it with USDC, and then they moved to ETH after a vote. But I think that move was also great. Like everyone wanted to get the yield in ETH in a
Yeah,
way.
because I think that the natural audience there itself, for them, for you guys, ETH is like the best form of money on so many levels. And like, yeah, just give me the real money, and then I will decide. And if your project is good enough and that position is well enough, I'm gonna buy even more Pendle and lock it because you're paying me with ETH. And it's like you're taking like the neutral choice by not paying me with your any of your own tokens and paying me with what most of us consider like the actual internet money. And actually, I think that especially the younger generation, actually, I think they really appreciate that fact. By the way, Colin, can you maybe explain a bit about that meme that you, this picture that you showed?
I don't know. We were just talking about needing to get involved in Solana, and I saw that, and I thought that was funny.
Oh
I
my
don't know
god.
what it's going on.
Oh my god. I'm out of the casino for now. Leave me alone.
Talk about
I
conviction,
don't know.
guys. Talk about conviction. But yeah,
Conviction is the only thing that can wreck you.
yeah, a little
The
too
best
much.
way to round trip, you know?
I think nobody can accuse Solana of not having like an edge on culture.
Yeah.
Like you may not like peak performance, what this looks like, but this is peak performance of culture.
Yeah. Hopefully it works for whoever does it. A little bit too much conviction for me. Like, in my opinion, you can buy a hat or something. But again, I'm a boomer. Don't necessarily.
What is this? What's the saying? Is you never vote against a cult? Like cults will always win.
By the way, did you see the Cardano, the Charles Hoskinson's tweet about not coming to Bankless? He's like 8 minutes rant about him not coming to Bankless, and he's only willing to do the interview if they come over to this big Cardano conference, I guess. I think it's in Nevada sometime in the summer.
You're just asking the question.
And then he's gonna do him and doing the interview in his Black Hawk helicopter. Did you guys hear about this? Do you have any?
I'm going to ask the question that everybody listening to this right now wants an answer for. When is Charles Hoskinson coming on Leviathan?
Oh my god!
And he can come any day. I don't know. He can come any day, and I'm pretty sure Sam will wake up any hour for that one.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. You know what, Charles? I'm saying it right here. It doesn't have to even be the 10 a.m. Eastern slot. We're gonna make a
bring your helicopter, whatever you want.
But we do prefer to have a live show because that's like our natural element. But everything is up for like discussion. Either way, I will be honest. I don't think I'm fly. Like someone told me you should. Like I wrote this post about it, and it's actually like I think probably the post that got like the most views I ever got on a post, where I like approached the Cardano industry community, and I was like, guys, is this really how your founder should respond? And I've never gotten so many like views or engagement with the tweet. Ever, not even like remotely close, and it was actually like very funny. I was just getting back from Belgrade, and then someone tells me that you should interview Charles yourself and find out. So I told them, man, to be honest, I can't afford to go to Nevada like and interview him on the helicopter. All due respect, not right now, like not right now. Maybe later on in the bull market, hopefully.
Maybe.
Only maybe, yeah.
It would be quite hilarious. He seems like he would be a funny person to have on the show.
Actually, I actually agree with many of his takes about a lot of topics. Like, it's not that I think that he's not a smart guy or whatever, but yeah, I do think that some things he's for sure doing wrong.
The best thing that he can do
I
is
never see myself investing in anything built on Cardano. Apologize, because what's up? You know what I mean? Like, by the way, and how did I remember all about it? Because you used the word cult on Solana. And when you tell me about cult, like, is there a bigger cult than Cardano in crypto or XRP? By the way, guys, Ripple the XRP new stablecoin. Any thoughts about it? The Ripple new stablecoin?
I think they
Especially you, Colin.
in their token ticker. Can't talk anymore.
Yeah, their token.
Their toker. No.
It's a great name, like a token it's
ticket
like
toker.
a game. Yeah. A token ticker. Token. It's brilliant.
Or LUSD. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like LUSD is already been taken. I don't know why.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to like market it as like the real LUSD.
Maybe
that's what that RLUSD stuff.
Trying to dethrone us.
Yeah, like why isn't the P there? You know what I mean? Like it's Ripple. I don't know.
I'm not gonna be coming anywhere near that.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I think it's actually like kind of proves the point that all these entities, like they're, especially if they have like money and some kind of a community or whatever, and TVL, they have to adapt to newer narratives if they want to survive, you know. And I think stablecoin is one of the biggest narratives out there. I'm already hearing a lot of rumors that there will be an L2. What's that, Colin?
The thing that I find kind of funny about them having a stable coin, and I know why they're doing it, like, and my knowledge on everything XRP is weak at best and very dated, but my understanding was like their whole thing was to facilitate the movement of fiat currency. So it seems like, didn't they have like dollars in XRP as a stable coin and euros and yen and everything else like 8 years ago? Like, wasn't that kind of a point there? What's different now? I don't know.
I don't know.
They can already do that with USDC on chain, and you know, they can issue other coins already on L2s that also operate cheap. Like, how cheaper do you need it to be? Like, the use case is there, but just the integration and adoption hasn't been going through, I think. Like, stablecoins already should be already, a stablecoin should be already part of your bank account. You open your bank account and there is stablecoin option there.
But this is XRP. We're post like max attention. Who's bidding this token?
Great question.
It
doesn't mean, I always say, it doesn't mean it's not gonna pump. Like, there is no such thing that, you know, never underestimate the power of pump, you know, like things tend to pump in a weird way, but obviously these moves are also short time narratives. So like, you have to know when to exit as well if you're entering them, and how long you're gonna be sitting in that position until it pumps. You know, it could take a year and a half, or 1 day, or for 1 week.
Exactly. You just have to be there when it pumps.
I would like the pump first to come to our bags, but I am a complete pump respecter wherever it comes.
Fact. Respect for that as well. Guys, anything specific you want us to add before we wrap this up? I don't want to take too much. Like, I do want to take too much of your time, but I want to do it like in a considerate way, because for me, I can just go on and on.
We're gonna come back. I like Pope. We're gonna get Pope back on this show.
Always, man. I knew it would be fun to have Pope on, and just as I expected, it actually is. And Pope, really hope you join us whenever you're available. And by the way, you don't just have to, either of you, by the way, you don't have to just join the weekly panels, of course. Whenever you guys want to come up on the daily show and share some stuff or do any kind of content, we try to be like as community driven as possible, and to really understand like what kind of content the actual community wants to hear, but also create, and just let us know and let's make it happen, because that's what we're just really trying to do. Really enjoyed being here with you guys and with Amplice as well. Thank you thank you for another great one. Any thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up? Any last words?
Any last words? It sounds ominous.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm Israeli, man.
Last
What
words.
should I have said? What should I have said?
Keep praying for a pump.
Any
Keep praying
final?
for a
Wait a
pump.
minute. I have something. I have something, Colin. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Number go up.
Amen, brother. Pope.
We're just gonna hope for that. Number go up. I
Yeah.
mean, my entire projection is that most of the move may be gonna come end of the year, but I hope before.
Yeah, I don't actually mind waiting. To be honest, like I
We
think
still have a year. We still have a year.
yeah, like
So
for whoever wants to
take your
accumulate,
time.
like low prices for us, like I don't know, it's better. Like if I'm honest, but I know that for each his own, and like a lot of people probably lost a lot of money or lose a lot of money when the market go down. But yeah, guys, just try to do it as best as you can. Like we all probably try. And
Gamble responsibly.
exactly. Gamble responsibly. The only way to do it. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Leviathan news, wrapping up another week, basically. Check us out here on TG. By the way, we just crossed 10,000 TG members on the news group there, our biggest outlet. So it was a very a big moment for us, to be honest. And thanks everyone for being updated by us. Remember that you can also participate in the headline submission process and be active using our TG bot. Just ask us if you don't know how to do it yet. That's our best way to try and be first to every news, which I think that once we get the community long and big and engaged enough, honestly, we will be very hard to compete on the whole topic of being first to news. What we guess once we really get a community actually continuously involved and consistently involved, and you can earn some squid. By the way, our own tokens. You guys as well have basically just earned some squid for your participation and contribution for our content at Leviathan, our new token from ever since a few months ago, available on Fraxtal. Not financial advice, of course, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, check out Sam's Substack. Our Substack made by Sam, the Tentacle Leviathan News. A lot of great info there, and you can also subscribe to it and help us earn something. We've just recently started monetizing, and we're thinking about some other opportunities on that direction, and hopefully we'll have some updates on that as well. And okay, guys, have a great week.
Have a good week.
Have a great week.
Bye, folks. Bye.